everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And it's been a while. Yeah, that's right. We took off. I took off on vacation. We left the Thursday of the week before last. And the plan originally was we're going to do my travel, get there. We're going to try and do the show live from on location from the vacation. Unfortunately, the internet access did not work out as such. So I took a little over a week off. Mike also took a little over a week off, but I am back today, and Mike will be back or should be back with us tomorrow. But we're here once again talking about the news, talking about what's going on during some of what's gone on, while I've been gone. But also talking about what's going on today. Trust me, folks, there is so much in the news. It was really hard for me to decide what we were going to talk about today. So I got content aplenty, shall we say. But you know how it is. Look, the content works. The content works best if there is a conversation. So I want to encourage you, if you are watching the show live today, please make it a point to comment. If you're watching us, once again, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, if you're watching us on Rumble, if you're watching us on Twitter, if you're watching us on OpsLens, folks, go ahead and comment. I am actually following the comments section today, so just do me a favor, go ahead and comment, and if I like what you got to say, or if I find it interesting, whether I like it or not, I'll go ahead and we'll let the folks know what you had to say. So with that, we're going to get into the program, but before we do, you know what we do, and that is, we got to pay the bills. And that starts with a quick shout out to our sponsors. So we're going to start with Hitman Industries. Hitman Industries is the place to go if you need to rebarrel your current rifle, if you want to do a brand new build and are looking for quality barrels. Trust me, they have what you're looking for. Just go to hitmanindustries.net and you'll find rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to select. And if you're a new purchaser, if you've never purchased from them before and you are a first responder, well, then you're going to get a discount. So once again, check them out today, hitmanindustries.net. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly, working to help elect conservatives at all level of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Go ahead and check them out. Visit them at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. And then we've got Hog Holsters, the place to go to get quality holsters inside the waistband, outside the waistband, concealed carry or tactical holsters. They have what you need. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, one word, just like it is right there, and you're going to get a little discount on The Rundown. And then finally, we've got uscombatgear.com, the place to get all things tactical except for the gun. Outdoor gear, cold weather gear, hot weather gear. I know a lot of you could use some of that hot weather gear right now. Trust me, folks, they got it. Whether you're looking for it for hunting, for tactical shooting, whatever it is, they got it. Check them out. Veteran owned and operated. Excellent discounts. Fast shipping. Yes, uscombatgear.com. All right, number one story for those of you in the Golden State, those of you watching from the California Republican Assembly, guess what we got? California is number one. That's right, California is number one once again. That's right, I said again. Well, recent FBI data has been released, and, we already know, going back first of all, we all know that according to whether it's the Gifford Center, whether it's the Brady campaign, whether it's Moms Demand Action, no matter who it is, they will tell you that California is ranked number one in terms of gun control laws, or what they like to say is gun safety legislation. In other words, supposedly California is supposed to be the safest place in the world when it comes to guns because, we got all this gun legislation. Well, the FBI has just released some data, and turns out California may not be so safe. That's right, as being reported by Breitbart News, as well as a number of other sources, California, number one in gun control, number one in active shooter incidents in 2023. New figures from the FBI show that heavily gun-controlled California led the nation in active shooter incidents in 2023. FBI designated 48 shootings as active shooter incidents in 2023. California was the leading state in the union, topping with 8, basically having 8 of the 48 incidents as reported by Fox News. ABC News commented on FBI findings, noting California had the largest number of active shooter incidents with 8. The locations of the shootings were open spaces, places of business, and education centers. Fox News likewise noted California, which has some of the toughest gun control laws in the country, led the way with 8 incidents. Breitbart News reported previous FBI data that showed that California led the U.S. in active shooter incidents in 2021 as well, with 6 incidents. Ironically, California Governor Gavin Newsom consistently lauds the alleged success of gun control in his state while criticizing the loser gun laws in states in other parts of the country, such as Florida. For example, on May 13th, 2023, he tweeted, quote, "It has to be the humidity. Why else would California gun violence rate be 57% lower than Florida's?" However, whereas FBI data shows California led the nation with 8 active shooter incidents in 2023, Florida only witnessed 2 such incidents, or 1/4 of what was experienced in Newsom's state. So the point here, folks, is this: gun control doesn't work. It never has, and it never will. But Gavin Newsom doing like he does, because we all know who Gavin Newsom is. Gavin Newsom, being the liar that he is going to lean on false facts. He is going to say something, and he thinks that just because he says something, everyone is going to believe that it's true. And the mainstream media largely is going to believe exactly what he tells them to say. He's going to report it, and they are going to continue it. They are going to go ahead and voice it just like they're told, because that's kind of what they do. They parrot whatever the Democrat leadership tells them to parrot, and that's unfortunate. I hate to say this, that is highly unfortunate that he does that, but or that the media does that. And I just realized something. I just realized that I am not running the show on Rumble, or am I? Let me see. Hold on a second here, folks. I have to apologize. Nope, I am not running the show currently on Rumble. I'm running it on my own personal Rumble page, but I'm not running it on the Rundowns Rumble page. So I'm gonna have to fix that later. So anyway, if you're watching me on Rumble, you're watching me on my channel, do me a favor, go over to the Rundown channel. If you go over to the Rundowns channel, in fact, I'll put a link in there for you. You can go there. Make sure you go there and subscribe. I mean, you're obviously not going to be able to see it right now, but I definitely want to encourage you to go there, check it out. I definitely want to encourage you to go ahead and follow the program. Go ahead and follow the program so that you can see it every day, not just today, but you'll get a chance to actually see it every day. All right, there we go. Got a little bit of administrative stuff done. This is what happens when you take a week off. It's like you forget how things work. But anyway, by the way, for those of you who are new to the program, I am both in front of and behind the camera at the same time. I'm doing all the technical stuff, so I can sometimes be prone to making a little oops here or there. If you're watching the program, you sometimes see me look this way. It's because I got my big monitors going on over here that tell me what's going on in the world. So anyway, just so y'all know, that's what's up. Anyway, so California's number one. Nothing new. Once again, this is not the first time this has happened, where California also number one in 2021 when it comes to gun control. And yes, we've passed even more gun control since then. But not only were we number one then, but we were also number one in active shooter situations. And by the way, this isn't even including the number of when I say mass shooters, that includes gang-related or drug-related violence that has taken place relating to firearms. But you know, they don't tell you stuff like that. They don't want you to know that yes, no, these gun control laws do not make people safer. They just don't. And anybody who wants to tell you that they do is lying to you. All right, moving right along. Probably should say, speaking of lying to you, CNN has been unmasked ahead of the presidential debate. So there was a reporter who wanted to have on a representative from CNN, had on a representative from the Trump campaign, and wanted to talk about, you know, the upcoming debate. You know, they're kind of doing a promo coming up for the debate. And let's just say that the Trump representative made it a point to say that Trump was ready. He recognizes he's going to be he's going into hostile territory, which clearly anybody who's ever watched CNN knows. CNN from top to bottom, from beginning to end, is hostile towards Donald Trump. Everyone who knows it, everyone sees it, knows it. In fact, the folks who are going to be moderating the debate. Here's just a few clips of the two individuals who are going to be moderating the debate, and you tell me whether or not you feel that they are biased for or against Donald Trump. Check it out.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage. This time, of course, in the United States. Donald Trump, a couple times over the weekend, referred to immigrants from South America, Africa, and Asia. He did not mention Europe. South America, Africa, and Asia as, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, which it's not hyperbole. That does very directly echo Adolf Hitler's language before World War II. To open up a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf, you would find the Nazi leader describing the mixing of non-Germans with Germans as poisoning. There's really no other way to say it. Donald Trump's language mirrors this directly.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. So that was a clip. I had originally planned to pull a clip that had one with both Jake Tapper as well as Dana Bash. Unfortunately, I just pulled the one that just had Jake Tapper, but I think it's real obvious. Clearly, he does not. He doesn't like Donald Trump. He is literally comparing something that Donald Trump said to something that is out of Mein Kampf. He's literally accusing him of being a racist, of being a Nazi, right? And clearly what he is pointing to, and what Donald Trump in his comment is talking to, is the amount of, or the number of incidents of individuals who have come into the country illegally, right? And the fact that after allowing millions, they've officially said it's around 7 million, but we know it's probably closer to 10 since Biden took office. And then the number of incidents of people who have been robbed, people who have been shot, people who have been raped, people who have been murdered by those who have entered the country illegally. He made it a note that some of these countries are emptying out their prisons. They're basically they're taking people who are in their jails, in their mental institutions, they're releasing them to come to the United States because they know all they have to do is walk across the border. And they're in. Now, maybe it should, and by the way, they're sending them from all over the world. Now, maybe it's just me, but I don't see where that is referring to, or where that is consistent with, looking to, or to what a Nazi would say. Put it that way. Anyway, all that having been said, clearly there is a bias at CNN, number one, but especially with Jake Tapper and with Dana Bash. Well, this Trump surrogate basically commented on the fact, or Trump representative commented on the fact that they knew it was going to be a biased situation, and well, let's just say that it wasn't taken too well by the host of the program.
Caroline, thanks very much for being here on the show. We played that to remind everyone that that was some of what they saw on the debate stage in 2020. Of course, President Trump went on to lose that election to Joe Biden. Can you tell us what Donald Trump is going to do differently on the debate stage this time?
Sure. Well, President Trump is well prepared ahead of Thursday's debates. Unlike Joe Biden, he doesn't have to hide away and have his advisors tell him what to say. President Trump knows what he wants to say, and he's going to relay his vision to the American people to make this country strong, safe, secure, and wealthy again. He's been doing that across this great nation to all corners of this country. That's why he was in Detroit, Michigan last week. He was in Philadelphia for a big rally on Saturday night, and that's why President Trump is knowingly going into a hostile environment on this very network on CNN with debate moderators who have made their opinions about him very well known over the past 8 years and their biased coverage of him. So President Trump is willing to bring his message to every corner of this country, to voters, to ensure that he wins this election in November. He looks forward to doing that, and I know the American public look forward to hearing from him.
So I'll just say my colleagues, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, have acquitted themselves as professionals as they have covered campaigns and interviewed candidates from all sides of the aisle. I'll also say that if you talk to analysts of debates previous, that if you're attacking the moderators, you're usually losing. So I really want to focus in on what these two men are going to do and say when they stand on the stage. Now, we have a little bit of what Donald Trump, your boss, has said in trying to set expectations for this debate. I want to play a series of his comments, and then we'll talk about it. Watch.
Maybe I'm better off losing the debate. I'll make sure he says I'll lose the debate on purpose. Maybe I'll do something like that. I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater. Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history? Or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
So he's basically saying there, well, will I let Joe Biden win? It does seem as though many Republicans have set the bar very low in terms of arguing that Joe Biden is basically senile. Now you have people like Doug Burgum coming out and saying, well, President Biden's very accomplished, trying to set expectations in a different place. What do you expect from Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, it would take someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently, frequently likened President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this debate. Our thanks to Caroline. John, that, of course, is something that we are going to see from the right?
All right, so what was the trip about that was it was like she got a chance to say something about her colleagues, but no one else got a chance to say something about her colleagues. And I'm sorry, but it's relevant. It is 100% relevant when you have a biased network, which, quite frankly, I think Donald Trump should not have accepted this debate. Donald Trump should have said, yeah, let's do two debates. Now let's talk about who's going to be the moderator and what networks the two debates are going to be on. But to just flat out agree, I mean, part of the thing but anyway. So one, he should have actually set some ground rules, because once again, he set himself up to be in a negative situation. But part of it is, I think he knew by saying what he said, he knew by agreeing to it, he was going to get to be able to talk about how biased they are, and they are biased. They're going to hold the water. First of all, one of the things that happens every single time, and this reporter, Casey, whatever her name is, she does the exact same thing oftentimes, and that is when a Democrat comes on, they ask them a question and the Democrat gets to speak. When a Republican comes on the program, they ask them a question and then they debate them and they cut them off. That happens so often in liberal media. And then they say, well, we're not going to let you filibuster. What do you mean filibuster? You ask me a question, I'm giving you an answer. And I know that this happens because it happens quite often to me. It's like they want you to give they want to ask you a question. So, Mr. DeLuz, are you still beating your wife? And then they want you to give a yes or a no answer to that question. And it's like, wait a minute. Let's put the question in proper context. And that is exactly what this representative was doing, was putting this question in, or this discussion in proper context. He is going into enemy territory. Make no doubt, CNN is enemy territory. Anybody who does not know that to be the case has either never seen CNN or only watches CNN. And you know what that means. So I just think, and the worst part is, and I heard someone say this, and they said that they talked about how this is going to create the Streisand effect. And this commentator made the point, I think his name was Larry on Town Hall or Larry on Town, anyway. But the guy made this comment, and I thought this was true. He said, he was talking about the Streisand effect and how some news outlet was taking pictures of Streisand's mansion. And she went online and just lost her mind, like telling people, I don't want people taking pictures of my house and this, that, and the other. And she made such a big stink out of it that all of a sudden millions of people were Googling trying to find pictures of her house. In other words, she inadvertently, she actually made the situation worse for herself. She actually exposed herself and her mansion and pictures of her mansion to more people than she ever desired to do by complaining the way that she did. And in this particular case, that is exactly what happened, because now everybody is Googling and Twittering and Twitter searching, and they're on Instagram, and they're all looking, or TikTok, and they're all looking for videos of Dana Bash and Jake Tapper talking about Donald Trump. And they're going to come across the clips like the one that I showed. And people are going to be like, yeah, they're biased. They're clearly biased. And then when they're doing the debate and they do what they do, because we know they cannot help themselves, they're going to look really bad. And it's going to be hilarious. They're going to carry the water for Joe Biden, because let's just be honest, Joe Biden cannot carry the water for himself. Joe Biden right now is somewhere hiding off in a corner somewhere where they are feeding him all sorts of drugs and whatever it's going to take, all sorts of go-go juice to make it so that he can get up there on Wednesday and be able to perform. And the problem is that it ain't gonna. I don't know how well it's gonna work. I mean, the good news is that there's for them is that once again, it's friendly territory. But Donald Trump has got one of the things that Donald Trump has really got to do in this one. I'm telling you, just let the man sink himself. And every time he comes after you, Donald, turn it right back around. Well, you've been convicted of 34 felonies, and he's a convicted felon. And I would say, yes, I was convicted by a prosecutor who got elected by promising to go after his political enemies, first and foremost, me. And he was fulfilling a campaign promise working with your administration in order to try and take down your political opponent, because they have to distract from that. They have to distract from you, Mr. President, because let's be honest, you are the worst president in American history. Since we have been measuring president, you are the worst. You have been the absolute worst. Your record says you are the worst president. And make him defend his record. Make him. We know he can't do it. It's an indefensible record. But if there's anybody who is the least qualified to defend his record, well, let me clarify. There is one person less qualified. There is only one who is less qualified to defend his record, and that would be his vice president, Kamala Harris. So anyway, it's going to be all bad. It's going to be a very interesting debate. But now they've got to be extra careful, because now the whole world is watching to see how biased they actually are. Y'all know they're biased. Also reporting from CNN, and this, by the way, this is an example of how bad CNN is. So Donald Trump was giving his speeches, and you know how Donald Trump does it. Donald Trump gives his crazy little speeches, and he goes off on rants. And one of the rants that he was talking about, he was trying to talk about how violent some of these people coming across the southern border are. And I'm not referring to most of them. I'm not referring to all of them. Specifically, I'm referring to those who have, committed crimes before coming to the United States, and many of which are committing crimes now here in the United States. I'm not saying most, I'm not saying all, I'm saying a lot. And I'm saying a lot because guess what? A lot of people have crossed our southern border with little to no vetting. Anyway, so he made a comment, and now I want you to watch this video, and I want you to tell me, is Donald Trump serious about this, or is this a typical Donald Trump, joke? Is this Donald Trump just being Donald Trump?
Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are.
So, John King, just briefly on this. I mean, Republicans have gained ground on immigration. There's no way around it. But this is kind of Trump's way of talking about it. Do you view that as something that's going to turn off the people that you talk to every day?
I think it's a great question. Number one, on the policy, this has been the quicksand of American politics for 25 years now, and there's a huge problem, and it'd be nice if we could get everybody in the room to actually have a policy conversation. However, when you get to that, the Trump people will say the Trump people will say he's joking. This is one of the things where they say he's joking, he's just throwing something out there, he's having some fun, and his base loves fun. Yeah. Get over it, Washington. Get over it, mainstream media. This is just him having fun, right? That's the way they describe it. But you're right. There are some people out there who, is it Christian to speak ill of immigrants? And so there's a space out there where some people who are probably going to vote for Trump or inclined to vote for Trump kind of get the ooh.
Yeah, the Pope would say no. It's not.
And then can Biden turn to his own base again, which has some enthusiasm issues, and say, look, you may not love everything I'm doing, but that's what you're going to get if you don't come out to vote.
And so once again, they're working and they're trying to take what is a joke, and quite frankly, it's a joke. And once again, when we're talking about migrants, people are going to get upset. But once again, they automatically think Latino. And I'm telling you right now, most of the people coming across the southern border are not Mexican. They're not coming from Mexico. They're coming through Mexico. But they are not they are coming from all over the world. They are Chinese. They are coming from Africa. They are coming from Afghanistan. They are coming from Iraq. They are coming from Iran. They are coming from all over the world through our southern border. And many of them are violent. And that's the point that he's making. And you notice what they never talked about? What they didn't talk about one time was the truth behind what he was saying. And the truth is this. Is that just last week, we had several incidents. We had a 12-year-old girl who was murdered. They did not say whether or not, at least I had not seen yet whether or not they determined whether or not she was raped and murdered, but they definitely know that she was murdered, right? We've got incidents of immigrants fighting and attacking police officers. We have incidents of them shooting and killing people. All coming across our southern border. And then we keep hearing of incidents where they were picked up, and they were released under the Biden policy. Now, I don't know of many, if any, UFC fighters who have murdered anyone. But when he's talking about how tough they are, he's talking about how violent they are, that's what he's referring to. Now, mind you, is it a joke that I would make? No, probably not. Is it a joke that is a statement that Donald Trump would make? Yeah. But people are like, well, see, if this is what you're going to get. Well, if you reelect Joe Biden, you're going to get more of individuals coming across the border, murdering and raping and attacking and robbing U.S. citizens. Now, what would you rather have more? Orange man who says mean things? Or more rape, murder, and violence? I don't know about you. I can handle orange man saying mean things. I don't know. I'm kind of easy that way. I sticks and stones may break my bones. I guess that's but words will never hurt me. I guess I grew up on that one. And I don't understand why some of these folks, well, I know why they can't. The point is that they love the policy. And the only thing they have to point to is Donald Trump is mean. Donald Trump is, and I don't believe this, they're going to say Donald Trump is mean. Donald Trump is racist. And Donald Trump is a fascist. He's an authoritarian. And that's all they have, is to say it. Because those are all buzzwords and emotional words that will, in their eyes, hopefully get you to vote against them, against Donald Trump. But the reality is, Donald Trump's not the one who believes that, well, you know, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. Donald Trump isn't the one who believes that, you know, poor kids are just as, you know, intelligent and clean as white kids. Donald Trump is you guys get my point. The fact is that Joe Biden is the racist. Joe Biden is the one who thinks less of black people. He needs black people because if black people don't vote for him, he doesn't win. So it's not a respect that he has for African Americans. He has no respect for African Americans at all. It's just he needs them. And that's his shtick. And that's why he says what he says. And he gets away with, oh my God, everything. Anyway, he gets away with stuff you would never see a Republican be able to get away with. Anyway, moving on to our next story. Will SCOTUS decision affect AW bans? Now, this actually is specifically speaking to the legislation relating to, or the decision relating to, people who are people who have been convicted of domestic violence and their access to weapons or to firearms. And the LA Times had a piece today, basically talking about it. Will the Supreme Court decision affect California bans on assault weapons and magazines? A long-awaited Supreme Court decision upholding federal law barring domestic abusers from possessing firearms will have a narrower impact than some had hoped, but it will nonetheless play an important role in reshaping gun laws in California and across the country, legal experts said. Among the laws Friday's decision could affect are California's bans on assault-style weapons and large-capacity ammunition magazines, both of which are facing legal challenges in the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Adam Winkler, a UCLA law professor who focuses on Second Amendment law, said nothing in the High Court's decision in the United States versus Rahimi makes it crystal clear how those cases are going to play out. But he said the decision does give lower court judges a wider legal pathway for finding California's modern gun laws legitimate, not only if they are hundreds of years old or precisely analogous to some other early American law, but also if they are in line with a broader legal principle from early American history. Quote, there's no doubt that there's a major win, that it's a major win for gun safety advocates, Winkler said. This case sends a broad signal that a majority of the justices are not completely hostile to gun laws that the mainstream American gun laws are likely to secure, even if they are not well grounded in history and tradition. Other observers, including Chuck Michel, an attorney for some of the gun advocates challenging California gun laws. How about noting he's the president also of California Rifle and Pistol Association, but I digress. Took a different position, saying Rahimi decision was pretty narrowly tailored, but it could open the door to even more challenges to gun laws. And the point that he's trying to make here is the tradition of disarming people who have been noted to be dangerous, and that's what we're talking about here. If you're talking about someone who has been convicted domestic abuser, meaning there's someone who has been deemed and recognized by a court of law as being prone to violence, and that historically, and that's what they were referring to, historically, laws have always been against the idea of allowing, it's always been focused on the people. We want to disarm people who are known to be violent, right? And so what they're noting here is that what Winkler is saying, well, that means they're open to looking at other areas, not just gun laws, right? But what Chuck Michel is saying here, and this is what the important part is that if you have laws out there that are disarming people who have no history of being violent, who've never been convicted of something violent, who are in no way been proven to be violent at all, then those laws should be challenged and potentially removed. So that's the point that Chuck Michel is trying to make. And that's the way I see it. I think that's the way most gun owners see it. Once again, if there's someone who once again has demonstrated that you are a violent individual, then yes, there is. I mean, whether it's violent because of mental health issues or because of criminal behavior, you probably should not have access to a firearm, and that's what they're saying. And that's where the Supreme Court, I think, is standing on that. And I think that to insinuate otherwise, as Mr. Winkler did, well, once again, there is a historical background behind what it is that he is talking about. And that's what I think, and that historical background isn't just guns. And that's the point that, I think that's the point that Mr. Winkler was making. Anyway, moving right along, we are now at time for our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code, The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get your Hog Holster today. All right, our first one, or basically all of them today, are all coming to you from our good friends over at the Babylon Bee. This first one here, as we've been talking about prep debate. Donald Trump here, it says, Donald Trump preps for debate against Biden by going to nursing home and arguing with dementia patients. That may not be necessarily a bad strategy. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but that might actually help. Anyway, but that's not the only thing that they're doing as they're planning for the upcoming election. Or at least the White House, let me clarify, the White House is doing something totally different. And they're working and they're reaching out to migrants and encouraging them to help get to help get Joe Biden elected. Because they're concerned that right now things that are going on, it's actually helping Donald Trump. And they're doing so. As noted here, once again by the Babylon Bee, White House asked migrants to hold off on raping and murdering any more Americans until after the election. This one's hilarious because it's got Karine Jean-Pierre, the world's worst White House press secretary ever, in the photo. Anyway, it's hilarious. Anyway, and then finally, in California now, in California, literally, you have tax dollars going to pay for luxury apartments for the homeless. You also have tax dollars going to pay for people in San Francisco, to be specific. In San Francisco, they also have are handing out free shots, vodka shots for people who are alcoholics, homeless alcoholics. And as noted here, California dad warns kid if he doesn't study hard, he'll end up homeless with free luxury room and vodka shots and free vodka shots. Yeah, that is how California rolls. My tax dollars at work. God love it. Gotta love it. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of the program. But before we go, please make sure to give a quick shout out. We're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. You got Hitman Industries. Visit them at hitmanindustries.net. Rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you today. We've got CRA, the California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. And then you've got Hog Holsters. If you go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, get your Hog Holster on discount today. And then finally, uscombatgear.com, where you can find all things tactical except the gun. All right, folks, well, that's going to be it for today. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your patience with my little foibles today. We're going to get it back on track tomorrow. We be all right. We're going to be all right on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all take care. Have fun. Stay safe. We'll see you mañana.